Let's hear this.
I wait for someone to save. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall. I drive away into the night, and I contemplate for a while.
Yes.
Loving the intro. That is fantastic.
Artie, thank you very much. I made that myself, and then that song I actually bought and copied the right it. So anyone who plays it now pays me. And I've got a few, man. I've got a few. It gets big. I've got another one, and for my Sunday show, that's the bomb as well. So yeah, big up to everyone. Thank you very much, everyone joining us. I know it's late, and yeah, I fell asleep before, and that's why we're late, guys. I do apologise. I was sitting there watching the Man United game. The end of that game, I saw Harry Kane playing, and I fell asleep. It's natural, you know. It's natural. Harry Kane's football puts me asleep. What can I say? Tottenham Hotspur's football puts me asleep. I told Tottenham fans it's not sustainable playing this way for the whole season. It's just not. You ain't going to win anything. They'll finish fifth, telling you now. Right. So Liverpool won a game. I think they won back-to-back games. I might be. It's amazing. Yeah, but we won back-to-back games, Luke.
Back-to-back clean sheets.
Back-to-back clean sheets. Back-to-back wins. Can't argue at the moment. Luis Diaz. No Diogo Jota. Wondering who we're going to play on that left-hand side of this team. And, yeah, we went a bit differently, playing Carvalho on the left at times, Salah on the right, Darwin through the up the top, and obviously Bobby in that number 10 role. And the first half, I watched a bit of yours and your review a moment ago, and I thought the first half we played pretty well. Dominated most of the game, kept the ball really well. There were some sloppy moments and all that, but I don't know. What's your thoughts on that first half? Because it was a tale of two halves, wasn't it?
Slow start. I think first 5 minutes, I think we started quite slow. I think we couldn't really get any sort of control of the ball. I think Alisson kicked it twice to Declan Rice.
Yeah, it was
in
weird,
the space of the first 5 minutes. Yeah, like it was crazy. Like, obviously, his distribution was quite poor, but I think apart from that, I think we settled into it. We got Thiago on the ball a lot more. He was able to have a bit of space in midfield and able to try and he looked for Tsimikas a lot, making those runs on the left, because I think Carvalho wanted to play more central. He didn't look very suited on that left-hand side against Johnson, so he tried to get a bit more central, trying to get the ball. But I think we, as you said, I agree with you. We did dominate large spells of the first half, and the only thing that was missing was a goal. And obviously Darwin Nuñez nearly done a Torres 2.0 when the ball goes across him, and then obviously that strike with the left foot was just sensational. It was a great save from Fabianski, and and then from there we just set the tone. Like, Liverpool were able to get chances and able to create little moments, and then the goal from Darwin Nuñez, which is we've been waiting for, his first home goal, which has finally come. And it's just, again, it's a brilliant ball from Tsimikas, no real pressure on the cross. And, I mean, getting into the right spaces at the right times. And I think, as myself and Ricky mentioned, like, you know, the first half performance on our post-match, we've been waiting for that sort of moment for a couple of years now, with a striker's in the box and able to get into those positions and able to put the ball in the back of the net when them chances come. We talk about Manchester City, you know, and De Bruyne crosses it, Harden's there. I mean, this time around, obviously, we've got a good ball in from Tsimikas, but there's a lot of hard work that's been put into that cross, and Darwin Nuñez has dug in the yards and able to get a good connection and win the header and score. But yeah, brilliant first half. But then we was just, as you said, there were some sloppy moments. And obviously the last 5 minutes, I don't really want to watch that first half because we were very sloppy in that last 5 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, it was, as you say, it was tale to us. But look, we started the game with this team sheet: Alisson in goal, Gomez, Van Dijk, Tsimikas, and Trent. Were you a bit surprised that Robbo didn't keep his pace?
I was. Yeah, Robertson's obviously a much better player than Costa Tsimikas. The only one thing I think Tsimikas has got better over. Obviously, you see tonight, obviously with his assist, obviously the cross was brilliant. But yeah, I was very surprised to see Robertson not starting tonight. Considering obviously his first game back was against City. Obviously, he must be resting him, I'm sure, for the Nottingham Forest game because that's a massive game in itself now. We could go into that game if we win that, we can go a point behind Chelsea before they play. That's just how massive this game is now against Nottingham Forest. Yeah. But I was really shocked, as you said, to see Robertson on the bench. But it just shows the depth in the squad. Obviously, I've not been the biggest fan of Costa Tsimikas with his all-round game. I do think there's a lot to improve on, but
I agree. Yeah,
it does go to show that we've got enough depth in certain areas where Klopp's able to rotate it. But against a good West Ham side as well, it was a real risky move. But in the end of it, it's paid off.
Totally. And same midfield, we had basically played 4-2-3-1. Basically, we had Henderson and Thiago in that double pivot. Now, I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying it for about a year now about Fabinho. People are starting to listen at last. But Fabinho's mobility is a real issue for Liverpool Football Club at the moment. His movement across the pitch is an issue. I think Klopp notices that. I think that's why we were going to play. I think that's why we were going for players like Tuchemeni in the summer, because I think Klopp realises that Fabinho needs not replace him, but he needs a player in now that will take his spot eventually.
Yep.
And I like Henderson and Thiago in this double pivot at the moment. And I don't know about you, Luke, but I think if we're playing this formation, I think they're Klopp's first two choices at this moment.
I think so. I think it's on tonight. I think, when Thiago gets the ball, Henderson's able to do a few different jobs, obviously, around. He can help defend, obviously, when we have to drop back. And, he's able to push on a bit forward as well. And I think with Harvey Elliott coming into this midfield as well, in times, you see when Henderson plays in that midfield, you can see Elliott, for example, he's able to try and sort of get within the attacking form, the lineup as well, with trying to link up with Bobby and Salah and Darwin Nuñez, obviously, things like that. So I agree with you. I do think that Henderson gives you a bit more stability at the moment in this current time. And yeah, I've seen it. I'll be honest. I think over the last, maybe from the start of the season, I've been questioning Fabinho a little bit. Let's not be mistaken. He was fantastic against Manchester City, and so was every other player in the Liverpool shirt. Yeah. But tonight, he came on, and he was just like a statue. I couldn't see him move. He was being, there was one where he had I think the ball was on the touchline, towards the halfway line on the far end of the pitch, and he was up against the young boy that played. Was it Downs for West Ham?
Downs, yeah.
It just completely turned him. Like Fabinho went one way, and Downs just skipped past him. Like, thank you very much, and
nothing special either.
Yeah, it was nothing special either, and it was just a common sense approach where, when you always tell young kids and players, whatever ages, the one rule with football, you never dive into a tackle. And I see that so many times with Fabinho as well. He dives in, he's second guessing. He's obviously, as you said, he's always 1-2 yards off the pace. And sometimes he's just standing there and letting people go past him. I don't know what's wrong with him at the moment. I really don't. And I agree with you. I do think that's a reason why Klopp was looking at people like Tchouaméni, obviously some other midfield options that we may not have heard about, but it's worrying, isn't it? It's really worrying to see Fabinho in this decline.
His form is a bit of a worry at the moment. It really is. And look, he's played a lot of football, Fabinho, and he has been the lone central defensive midfielder in that time. But I don't think that can be all to blame for what's happening to him right now. And look, I don't think Fabinho's that player you want to bring on as a substitution and to put into that position when it's only 1-0. Because with Fabinho, it does take time to get into games.
Yeah.
So he works his way into a game, and he usually gets better as the game goes on. When you got half hour ago and it's a 1-0 game, and you bring him on, I don't know if that's the best situation for him. I really don't. So at the moment with Fabinho, I think you either start him or you bring him on in games when we're winning like 2 or 3-0 and it's a comfortable, and you bring him on like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be bringing him on now. I thought Thiago, Jesus Christ. This position we're playing Thiago in now, this double pivot. Look, if you look at his career, Barcelona and Bayern Munich, always played in a double pivot. And what it does, it suits him because he's playing in a deeper role. If the opposition midfield try and press him or Henderson at the same time, and they're going to leave gaps in behind them, and if they beat that press, then Thiago has the ability to just put the ball over the top and run in on a goal. Someone's running on a goal. So they're not going to press him all the time. You saw it against City. They try to press him. He's got the ability to move the ball quick, beat the press, and we found gaps in that game. Today, they didn't press him, so he had the time on the ball to do absolutely what he wanted at will. And he was basically running that midfield in the first half, wasn't he? He was just awesome.
I think he was the best man on the pitch in the first half. I mean, Darwin Nuñez was exceptional. His movement, reading off Thiago's passing. I mean, obviously the first moment where obviously Darwin Nuñez had that strike, which Fabianski made that good save. But I think Thiago was just exceptional. I mean, that's the reason why we bought him for moments like that. And I mean, for some people that generally thought that Thiago could not fit in this Liverpool type midfield, I mean, it's just absolutely embarrassing. I mean, this guy is world class. He's
it's different.
He's definitely. I mean, I'm not gonna obviously say I'm not about comparisons and that, but he reminds you of the passing range of like a Xabi Alonso type player. He's able to, pick a ball up under pressure, without pressure, and be able to find spaces and find gaps that you can't even see. Like, even if you're watching the game on your sofa or you're actually at the game live, like if you're watching a game, you think, oh, look, there's a space there. But all of a sudden, Thiago picks one's like 20 yards away from you from what you're thinking. You're like, how's he found that? And that is just the type of footballer Thiago is. And I fully agree with you. First half, he was by far our best player on the pitch. And I think that's why, I think that's why maybe Declan Rice had a good game for West Ham. But I think that's generally why he had a better game when Thiago came off.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he was able to shine more. No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, Thiago is, he's just different class. I love that bloke so much. He's just so good on the ball, dictates the midfield. And all this is a thing when we first bought him, he slows the play down. He actually speeds it up. Yeah. But then he knows when to slow it down when we don't need to run at 100 miles an hour all the time. He controls the game, and he's our best player at that without a shadow of a doubt. I thought Hendo next to him was okay today. He put in some good performances. He was a little sloppy in his passing in the first half.
Yeah,
a little sloppy in his passes. But tell you what, he made some very good runs off the ball in wide areas.
There were some good runs off the ball. I also think there was some good interceptions as well, which he made. Yeah. I think in the second half, he worked really hard to get into those defensive spaces because we did sit back a lot in the second half as well and allow West Ham the ball. But I think Henderson played all right, to be fair. I genuinely think he had a good performance.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Hendo had a good game as well. So Carvalho played off the left. And the one thing I would say about Carvalho, I know a lot of people maybe will be like, I don't know, did he have a good game or not? It's his ball retention. It's his ball retention that's really good. So stuff he did today might not be super eye-catching, and people might say, oh, what did he do in the game? But when you're watching it, it's just his ball retention. It's his ability to be able to keep the ball in tight spaces. Yeah. And you can tell the difference when he went off in the second half as well, that we lost that ability to hold onto the ball. Yes, he's got to pick up his strength. He will. He's tiny. He will get bigger and stronger. But yeah, his ability to hold on to the ball, Luke, is just something we don't really have much of in this team. And he has some nice bits of play, to be fair. There was times where he took players on. He had overcooked or undercooked the pass, but you could see the idea that he was trying to do, and he's not scared of trying to do it continuously. I thought he had a decent first half, to be fair, Carvalho. Don't know about yourself, my friend.
Yeah, I thought first 10 minutes he was a bit sloppy. I think the only reason why he was a bit sloppy first of all, 10, 15 minutes, is because I don't think Tsimikas pushed up high up the pitch enough. I think every time that Carvalho had the ball, and I think he was trying to hold it up to try and maybe link up with Nunez or Firmino if they were close by. But I think the always option was to try and play it out wide to Tsimikas. And I think because West Ham sat so far deep and they had them 2 rows of like the 4 and the 5, I generally felt that Carvalho had really nowhere else to go. So I just felt that it took him some time to really get into the game. But I agree with you. I think his hold-up play is very good. I think he's when he's close to players around him that he can pass off and make runs in behind as well. I think he is a threat, and the strength of it will come definitely 100%. I mean, obviously, I look at him and I just feel that in the next couple of years, hopefully, he could be a Coutinho type player. You know, he's got that sort of trait about him. But I think he grew into the game. I think especially when we went a goal up, I think he definitely gained some confidence from that. You know, we'd gone in front. We'd obviously been controlling the game. He was getting much more of the ball. Liverpool they look comfortable with him on the pitch as well, which I found. You know, you've got this 20-year-old kid that's come into this team, and you know he wants the ball, and even when he loses it, I can still see in his face and in his expression that like, give me the ball. I still want the ball. I still want to try and take this player on. I still want to try and link up with X, Y, Z. So I think his performance was really good, and you know, to see him come off, the substitutions were strange. The only reason why I thought it was strange was the timings, but yeah, something as you said, Jamie. I think Carvalho will definitely come good in the future, but you know, for me, it just took him a little bit of time to settle in. But again, a steady performance from the young kid.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was a decent performance. And as you say, he looks comfortable out there with the players he's playing with. And the compliment you can give him that the likes of Thiago and Henderson, the leaders on the pitch, are looking for him. So it tells you that what they think about him as well. So yeah, there's definitely a bright future for him. No doubt about it. So yeah, the midfield decent today. I thought we controlled a lot of the first half. I know, as you say, the first 10 minutes bit sloppy, grew into it, and I think we controlled most of that first half. Our defensive positioning on the pitch was far better as well. No one getting exposed as much. I like that. We have definitely dropped deeper now. It looks like we're 15 yards deeper than we used to be. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing at the moment. I'm very confused on it because I am one of these people that said we need to drop the high line. But I don't know if we are completely defensively better dropping it and going deep. I'm not sure on it yet. I've got to say, I understand why Klopp's doing it because we've had a bad start of the season. Klopp's trying to get to the World Cup and see if we can get every win till the World Cup. I think that's how he's looking at it. He's just right. Let's get to the World Cup. We've had injuries. Luis Diaz will be back after the World Cup. Obviously, Jota might be out for a little bit longer. So I think he's just trying to get there and see where we are in the Premier League by the time we break up for the World Cup. So I can understand the tactics he's playing, but I'm just not sure. I think we might be too deep at the moment because we've really let West Ham come on to us in that second half, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, I see something. I think we've got 7 games before the World Cup. I mean, 2 of them are Champions League games, which, I mean, it's a massive game against Ajax next week. Obviously, that's going to be huge. But I mean, I looked at the 4 league games that we've got, and there's Forest obviously away Saturday, and then we've got Leeds at home. Then we've got to go to Spurs, and then we've got our last game at home to Southampton. So there's winnable games there, and I agree with you. Yeah, I think we should. I think the Spurs game will be difficult, of course, because it's away from home. I mean, if we need 12 points, but if we get 10 from them 4 games, I don't think that's a bad return. But at the same time, at the start of the season, all 4 wins need to really happen. I'm hoping obviously how he's rotated the squad as well. I generally believe we will come second in our Champions League group, but obviously we need to get that result against Ajax first. Yeah. So, you know, if we get the win or we get a draw against Ajax, which puts us through, I mean, just in the Napoli game, just rotate it. Obviously try and keep the squad fresh because the Spurs games and the Southampton game after are much more important. Obviously, I know we got Derby in the League Cup as well, which we should get past, but even with rotating the squad. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm not so sure that the high line's gone just yet. I do feel that there could be something maybe after the World Cup where Klopp thinks, right, do you know what? I've got, as you said, I've got Luis Diaz back. Maybe Jota can come back into the side. But I don't know, this formation's working at the moment. Like the 4-2-3-1, for me, we're playing into someone like Darwin Nuñez's strengths. I mean, he looks so much more of a better player and so much more of a different player in this formation that we're playing to his strengths. We signed him for big money, like 65 million, 70 million. And now he's the last sort of 4 or 5 games, he's really hit the ground running. So at the moment, if it's working, you can't really change it too much. So hopefully it continues. But I'm with you. I'm not entirely sure yet. This is the overall sort of right way to go at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Big up to everyone in chat. Big up Aaron, Ravi, and Anna. Anna's a big Tottenham fan. Yeah, Fred. Yeah, he did make Fred look a bit good today. Although I have been one of the people around that actually doesn't mind Fred. I think he's all right. And for what Man United want to do, I'd have him over Scott McTominay every day of the week.
McFred.
Yeah, I don't think Fred's terrible. I just
he's not worth the price tag they paid for him. I think that's the only downside to it. Was it 50 mil?
Yeah, I don't think he's even a Man United player, but he's just not. Big out to everyone in the chat. I hope you're all good. Darwin Nuñez, let's talk about him because, as you say, everyone keeps talking about him. Is he how good is he? Is he this? Is he that? Look, this is what I'm going to say about Darwin. Every time I watch him, I can see there's something there. There's a player there ready to burst. And I think in the next year or two, we're going to show everyone the player we actually bought. There's a player there, you can tell. I know there was a bit of a joke when he came on against City. You know, he didn't look up and, you know, the chances he had. But that man created 3 chances for himself against Manchester City. He apparently just clocked the biggest speed in the Premier League this season tonight as well. He's absolutely lightning. He's quick. He's strong. And he's the first number 9 I think we've had in a long time that stretches the opposition. Salah and Mane, yes, they used to do it on the wide areas, but no one did it through the middle because Bobby used to come inside, you know, come towards the ball. Now we have Salah on the right. We'll have Luis Diaz when he's fit and a Jota when they're fit on the left. And Darwin through the middle, stretching the opposition. Darwin runs after everything. Any loose ball, he's on it. He's running after it. He's making a nuisance of himself. He'd done it today, and he was winning most of the balls back as well and starting little tiny counter attacks. I thought his hold-up play was fantastic. There's a lot of things people have said, his first touch and all that. He's growing in confidence all the time, as you say, because we're playing in. I think we're playing him now to a system that suits him. I know we started the season at 4-3-3. We played the wide forwards really wide to create the opportunities for Darwin. But I think Klopp's worked out now that Darwin actually likes players closer to him than further away. And it looks like it's working. I mean, his first effort at a goal in the match with that left foot volley, I could see he was going to hit it first time when the ball come over to him, but I was also like, please don't hit it first time.
I was like that as well.
And then, Jesus Christ, what a shot that was. Great technique. Then obviously his goal, his bullet header, great ball by Simeone. His timing for the run for the header was fantastic because he arrived just at the right time for it, because you can sort of like arrive too late, too early, get up and not quite connect properly with it. Arriving the way he did onto the ball, because he arrived at the ball. That's what I liked about it, which shows his predatory skill. Heading it down into the corner. Beautiful goal. Then that volley. Jesus Christ. I've actually seen people mocking him, saying he should have scored it. Can you believe that?
I think he was very unlucky with the one that hit the post. Obviously, that's just
off his chest and like the technique. I mean, made that himself again. And then I thought he had a tremendous first half. What I will say is, I was absolutely shocked when he came off.
I understand why, though. I didn't want him to come off as soon as, like, I think obviously on commentary, like, you know, they were saying about obviously Liverpool are going to make a triple change, and as soon as they said Darwin Nuñez, I was like, why are you taking him off for? Like, he's clearly, like, at the moment, like, stretching West Ham. It's causing him a problem with his runs. With, you know, they don't know how to defend against him right now. He's obviously got his goal. He's had them chances, as you said, in the first half. He's the man that will get us that second goal, and then, all right, maybe 5-10 minutes after we get that second goal, give him a breather, save him for Saturday. I just think with that injury to Jota, I think Klopp's a bit nervous at the moment.
Yeah,
He
I
don't
don't
want to
blame
pick up big, and that's the only reason why I believe he took him off. I just think he's a little bit nervous about, losing these players at the wrong time. I mean, the frustrating thing is as well. I mean, Darwin Nuñez, even though he's going to be there, there's going to be some players as well that are going to really want to play well now because of the World Cup on the horizon. But
Yeah.
at the same time, obviously we talked about, Fabinho and other players. Like, I mean, we spoke about Van Dijk on my channel, and it's like some players generally don't want to play well at all because they don't want to get injured. So
Yeah,
I'm not saying Fabinho is like that at the moment, but there's elements to that. Like, that's why the performances could drop. But yeah, I mean, going back to Nunez, I mean, he's got to start every game now. And as you said, and as I said, we're now playing to a strength that suits him. It suits us as well, because now we've got players behind him that can distribute the ball quickly to him, Thiago and Salah and Bobby. But also, like you said, you made a good point where when we're attacking, we do like to maybe stay wider a little bit with Salah, and he might come inside a little bit to try and get closer. But when we're defending, what I've noticed as well is Darwin does a lot of running, like with the press, but at the same time, it's more likely that the wide players and maybe the one that drops off does a bit more of the press. Because what I've noticed with the 3-3, when we play Nunez through the middle, excuse my language, he's fucked when pretty much he gets into the attacking position, because like he's done all that pressing and then he can't make that burst of a run when he's going forward to try and get into space. So I think now when we're defending, Nunez does a bit of it, but not as much as, say, Bobby and Salah. They work tirelessly off the ball, and a lot of people sometimes don't see that because they might not get the chances that they used to before, but it's because they're working so hard to get the chances for people like Darwin Nuñez at the moment, he's hitting the ground running, and long may it continue, mate. Long may it continue.
Yeah, he was tremendous, and as you say, he's got to just keep playing. Yeah, he's got the same amount of goals as Gabriel Jesus this season in less minutes, by the way. And apparently,
he's a flop.
Apparently, one's a flop and one's a generational talent. Mo Salah. Now, Salah played a little wider today. I thought Mo had an in and out game. I don't think he was terrible. Some of his play today was excellent, and in some parts of his game was a bit. There was a couple of times. I think there was one when he dragged it. He done the defender, then dragged Suma, and then because he just put a bit too much on the drag, the ball went out of play. Otherwise, he's in for a goal. Typical Salah sort of drag it in. That was unlucky. Then there was another time where he had another. I think he turned the defender with his left foot, and he just put too much on it for Fabianski just beat him to it.
Yeah.
And we're talking about fine little margins. If he just perfected them little couple of drags with his left foot, the man, or his right, I think it was his right foot, the man would have had 2 goals today. And again, he was on the cusp. But I just think he was on the cusp of the game, Mo. He was just waiting to explode, and it just didn't quite happen for him today. But again, he's playing an unselfish role. All this thing about Mo's selfish this, Mo's selfish that. He's playing a very unselfish role, really. He's helping Darwin as well in the middle. He does look for Darwin runs. He looks for other players' runs. But he's also a goal scorer who wants to score goals. And I think Mo was just on the cusp of everything today. And it just didn't go for him. That's all I'm going to say on Mo.
But sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, this is the old cliche, isn't it? I mean, I think Mo, as I said earlier, like obviously you've just alluded to there, I think he worked really hard off the ball. I think he was trying to get into good positions to try and create chances, and defensively, again, he come back and done his job. And, he wants to stay quite close to Darwin Nuñez with the system that we want to play now. But, when he plays for the centre as well, like the effort's always there with Mo Salah. And he's obviously not getting as many chances as he always used to, maybe with the new formation. And obviously he was a bit unlucky today. I think it was a couple of chances on target. I think one in the first half was straight at Fabianski, and there was that one in the second half, as you mentioned, where Fabianski was in a good position anyway, with Salah not getting the right contact. I mean, some other strikers try and sort of get a penalty out of it by diving in front of the goalkeeper, but what do we know? I mean, Mo Salah always dives apparently every week. But yeah. But I thought Salah had a steady game, to be honest. I think he done what he had to do and just didn't just couldn't find that goal, which always he wants to do and score goals and break records, and that's Mo Salah. But he now obviously understands that at the moment Liverpool are in a bit of a pickle where we have to. It's all about the team at the moment. Apart from him getting the goals, which we want him to get the goals, at the moment I don't care who gets the goals as long as we pick up 3 points.
Yeah,
and that's Mo Salah's mindset for me at the moment. So again, long may it continue, but I do want to see Mo Salah back on the score sheets because it's not a season without Mo Salah banging 15 to 20 goals a season. And but we'll see what happens. Obviously, in the next few games, Salah's obviously in good form as it is anyway for the team. And
we got Forest the weekend, and they're terrible.
Yeah,
he's gotta be. What makes me laugh about Forest as well? They bought 22 players, but they're playing people in the wrong positions because they said they haven't got a big enough squad. It's hilarious. But so he's got to be looking at that weekend.
I'm expecting, a couple of goals.
I think Salah's going to be hungry for that. SSB, I don't think he clocked 38 miles an hour, my man, because that is ridiculous. I think it was kilometres.
It was 38 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, because 38 miles an hour is faster than most cars going a high street.
I was probably get a speeding ticket.
I don't know if a human leg can go that quick. I mean,
most speed cameras in London are about 20 mile an hour. That's
a quick speed, my friend. Yeah, I think it's kilometres an hour, my friend. I think it's kilometres an hour. Salah on the cusp. Nunez great. Bobby. Now, look, we all love Bobby Firmino. I never met a Liverpool fan who don't like Bobby Firmino. In fact, it would be if he does leave at the end of this season, it will be the most heartbreaking player that's left under Klopp, in my opinion. Would be Bobby Firmino. And with Bobby, I can understand his role. He's playing that 10 role now, which I think suits him, to be fair. I think it's his position. He's extremely good at coming deep. He always is unmarked because players don't know how to pick him up. Bobby's movement is very good. He's extremely good at winning the ball back off defensive midfielders. I think that first half, another reason Declan Rice weren't really in the game the first half is because Bobby kept on him. Bobby was sitting in Declan's position on the pitch. And I think with Thiago, that stopped Declan Rice playing them. But Bobby, look, he had a couple of chances in front of goal today that didn't go his way. Try to find some passes. Again, I think with Bobby, he weren't terrible. Like Mo, Luke, I just think he was on the cusp of things as well. But not awful. I can understand the position he played. Klopp wants him as like that extra midfielder that can come in and make it a free at times. So I can understand the role he's playing. But as I say, not great on the cusp of things like Mo, but not terrible at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I totally agree with what you said. I think Bobby was definitely in a position in the first half where Declan Rice was the main threat in midfield for West Ham, and he was the one that was trying to sort of protect Thiago in a sense when Thiago's got possession, because Declan Rice was always that one that was going to press further forward to try and regain possession, because Soucek's obviously the covering midfield player at the two for West Ham. But obviously, it sort of vanished second half because, with Klopp making those changes, then it sort of opened the game up a bit more for West Ham. But I think for Bobby, again, I just think it was a steady performance. I think he looked too comfortable for a lot of players out there, especially in the second half. But
yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it looked it looked slow, but obviously comfortable at the same time. But obviously, there were chances West Ham had, which we needed to do better defensively. But I think Bobby was good enough again. I think he's in great form. He's definitely been one of our standout players this season. And I had the conversation on, I think it was one of the calling shows with Kopish a few days ago with Callum and Drifty, and I asked him about Bobby, and I said, is he playing for a new deal, or is he playing to get in that Brazil squad for the World Cup? I mean, I want him to stay for another year at least, if he does go, I mean, he's the longest serving player, I believe, behind Henderson, I think it is, and maybe Milner. I think he was one of.
He came in the same season as Milner, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think Henderson's the only longest serving player with them too. Then.
Yeah.
But when we signed him, we knew what we were signing as well, like the type of player as well. And he's just every game he plays for Liverpool, he always puts the heart on his sleeve, and he always puts these best for the club. And if he does leave, I can only wish him the best in his future. I unfortunately do see him maybe signing for Barcelona in the summer next year.
Yeah, I think yeah. I mean, what coming up to the end of October and January is when you can talk to people. I don't see a contract happening between now and January. So
Liverpool need to act now, don't they?
yeah,
I think in the next couple of months, before the World Cup, Liverpool have to speak to his agents and say, look, we'll give you a year or 2 year extension, but the wages I think would have to be reduced slightly because the minutes will reduce. Of course they will, but yeah, I think it would have been done by now. I think Bobby would have signed a new deal, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully Bobby stays, but yeah, I can only see him going one way in the summer, and that's to Barcelona.
Yeah, same. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate it. Yeah, Bobby, great little player. I love Bobby Firmino, but as you say, 31. Can't keep all these players, unfortunately. Time does move on, and I think next season you see a different attack again. I think Darwin and Carvalho are the start. You got Luis Diaz there. We got it's not just Luis Diaz. We got Jota, who's only 25, I think. Luis Diaz is what, 24? Darwin Nuñez is 23. Carvalho, Elliott. These are going to be the new forwards that are going to go forward for this football club eventually and take over everybody. I think Mo's here for the long run. I think Mo actually finishes. I think Mo finishes at Liverpool. I don't see him unless there's a desperate need for him to go anywhere.
Yeah, I think when his contract runs out, I think he'll be what, 32, 33. I mean, I think maybe that could be the end of him, depending what we do over the next couple of years with a bit more investment, which I reckon Liverpool got no choice. We have to invest. If we don't invest in January or next summer, then we could be in some serious trouble. Especially
The investment has to happen. Especially, so like the attacking areas are fine. It's the midfield area. Like I said, in the attacking areas, you've got Jota who's young, Darwin who's young, Luis Diaz who's young. Mo's going to be around for 3 more years yet, and Mo's Mo. So that's fine. That's the defence, you've got Virgil. I think he's getting back to his best now. He's just had a bad start of the season because he is human at the end of the day. Joe Gomez, I'm still iffy on. But Konate's there. I mean, Konate's going to be a beast. I mean,
I love Ibrahim Konate.
He's going to be an absolute beast. So we might be looking at another centre back to replace Joe Gomez because I don't know Joe Gomez. I'm not sure. We got Trent. You got Robbo, who's still what is he? 28. Simicast 26. So the areas of our pitch are fine. You got Harvey and Carvalho as up and comers. Patashak, who looks like Klopp really rates. You got Kay Gordon, unfortunately, got that pre-season injury. Otherwise, I think we would have seen a bit of him by now because I think Klopp really rates him as well. So there's players in around us. We just need this midfield area. Like I said, we just need young midfielders because I've said it for a while. The way Klopp wants to play a midfield is not what a lot of Liverpool fans want. All this creativity in midfield and stuff like that. That's just not what Klopp wants. He wants hard-working 6s and 8s in his midfield. And the odd one who can do something special like a Thiago. That's why that's what he wants. So if you get a young version of a young Milner, a young Henderson, and a young Fabinho, and you put them in our midfield, we'd look a better team because they'll have the energy, the mobility, and the movement to get around the pitch in 90 minutes and do what Jurgen wants. And that's what we need to go and get. And then just one special talent. That's why we were looking at Tuchel. Even Klopp admitted it. The player we wanted went to Real Madrid. So it's the player we wanted. So we're definitely, what tells me there is money there.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Do you know what done me? The thing that done me in the summer was, obviously we went out, I think we went out for Simeone and obviously it didn't work out. But what done me was like, Man City have obviously won the league. And obviously we knew Haaland was going to go there. They obviously brought in Alvarez. Obviously, there was a couple of other sort of additions. They brought a Kanji in, some other additions. Real Madrid won the Champions League, and they still brought in Simeone. So the investment there straight away was like, well, we've just come off winning the FA Cup and the League Cup, 2 games away from doing nothing what no one's ever done. But again, like Liverpool won the Champions League in 2019. We brought in Adrian and Sepp Vandenberg. Like everything's done. Like I don't know how clear Jurgen Klopp needed to make it to FSG. Like investment is, we need We need something in midfield, 100%. We need, because if we look in the summer, Cater's out of contract, Ox is out of contract, Milner's obviously out of contract.
Thiago only has 1 year left.
Thiago will have a year
What
left
do
on
you
his
do with
deal.
Thiago?
Henderson's obviously going to be getting on as well. You know,
I think Henderson retires at Liverpool.
I believe so.
Henderson, I think he stays as that Milner role eventually.
Even, you know, Fabinho as well. He'll be on his sort of last sort of year or so, and he's obviously getting on a little bit as well. There's a lot of aging midfielders in that Liverpool squad.
There has to be replacements in them. There has to be. As you said, Milner will probably go. Ox will probably go.
No, Milner gets a new deal.
Jeremy Milner gets a new deal.
Milner gets a new deal.
He could do. You could do.
He will.
I mean, he's playing like he wants one at the moment.
To be fair, I think that was his. I'll tell you what. Tonight was actually his bet. Apart from Sunday, it was his best game of him coming on as a sub. I think he was brilliant when he came on. That goal saving.
That's what Klopp
tackle.
That's what Klopp likes. He trusts him. There's 10 minutes to go, and he needs to see something out. Klopp trusts James Milner. And that's why, look, everyone forgets it was FSG didn't want to give Milner and Henderson new contracts, but Klopp he wanted them badly to have new contracts. They're the ones he wanted. They're his lieutenants, aren't they? They're the ones he trusts. Yeah. And with Milner, you just know what Milner's so professional. I mean, getting into that gap, I don't know how he did it. Winning that ball off Thomas Tuchel. That was
just a certain goal, wasn't it? That's what I generally thought.
Yeah, that was just. I thought Alisson saved it at first. I thought, Jesus Christ, he's God. And then, but no, it's just James Milner's a freak, man. Look, he's not a player you want to play in every week. That's ridiculous. I think James Milner knows his limitations. He's not a stupid man. He knows what he can and can't do on the pitch now. He knows he can't play like 4 90-minute games in a row. And he shouldn't either. He's 35. It shouldn't be happening. But I will say, and I've been saying this for a while as well, when you look back at Man United and Alex Ferguson under their great run, Alex Ferguson never got rid of Giggs. Giggs played till he's 40, right? But you found a position for him in the team. Didn't play all the time, but he kept him around the team because of his professionalism, his leadership, his know-how, that veteran style, and you can rely on that. Bergie looked at him like, I can rely on Ryan at 37 to come on for half an hour and help me out. So I don't actually see anything wrong with older statesmen in your team, but you still got to build around them at the same time. You can't just go, right, we're keeping Milner and signing a new contract, so we don't need to buy anyone. At the same time, you need to keep Milner, maybe, and keep a Henderson, but you still need the next young talents in your team to keep moving forward. Otherwise, like you say, you stay still, and then the following season you have to do double the worth again and that's our problem. We stood still when we won the league and Champions League. What the league? I mean, when we won the Premier League, we did buy Tsimikas, Thiago, and Jota. I mean, that ain't the worst.
Can't complain too much.
Yeah, that ain't the worst transfer summer, to be fair. But it's the Champions League year, weren't it? When you're not really buying anyone because we're like arguably the best team in Europe then. Very arguable. Us, Man City and Real Madrid probably. And we could have had a pick. We could have just bought a couple in that go into this squad, that go into the first team for the season after. And then we haven't got this problem we got right now. So it does go back a few seasons. But I think we just need to do so. We need to buy one in January. I've said it, buy one in January, then one in the summer, and you've got 2 new midfielders. And then get rid of the ones you don't need that and never go to play and just wasting money. I don't think we see Cater again. I'll be very surprised. I know he's back to fitness. I'll be shocked if we see him again. Ox, I think we might see. I think we might see Ox against Forest. I like the Ox though. I'm one of them who actually thinks he's a good footballer.
Yeah, me and Ricky were having a chat last night about Ox. Obviously, we were talking about Naby Keita as well. Like, are they? Obviously, they're both out of contracts. Obviously, I personally don't think Liverpool allow both of them to go in the same window, unless obviously there's, a midfielder coming in or 2 midfielders coming in at the same time. I think Ox stays, and the only reason why I think he stays, maybe another year. It's just easy.
You've got to have that homegrown. You've got to have that homegrown.
Exactly. Yeah. The English homegrown. It makes sense. Versatility as well, so important. He can play in various positions. We don't get me wrong. We hear it all the time. Oh, it's not always what you want. Obviously, you want a bit of quality in certain positions. But do you know what? I don't mind the fact if Oxlade-Chamberlain's in the match day squad. He was on the bench tonight, and do you know what? I sat there and I thought, do you know what? It's good to see him back in the match day squad.
Because he's a decent footballer.
Yeah.
Yes, he has his injuries, man, and I feel for him because his injuries are always terrible. He's that player that gets an injury that's 9 months. He's not a 2-week injury man, is he? This is Ox's problem. He gets long-term injuries.
I just feel so sorry for him. Like that injury against Roma was the one, wasn't it? I think that just
he was in the peak of his powers then as well.
He was one of the first names on the team
goals
sheet
in that season as well.
He was. I mean, Champions League semi-final when he was by far one of our first names on the team sheet. That's how good Liverpool were, and I think when we got to the Champions League final, we missed him big time. In that Champions League final, I think we could have. I know we all know what Sergio Ramos done that night, but obviously, I do believe if Oxlade-Chamberlain's in that final, I think he causes a Real Madrid problem. So
he's explosive, isn't he? And he does shoot. He has got a good shot on him from distance.
That shot against Manchester City as well. That was
we haven't got a lot of midfielders who can take the ball and shoot from 25 yards out.
We haven't had.
He can.
Yeah, we've not had. I mean, apart from Coutinho and Ox to an extent, we've not had many midfield players that can contribute to goals and assists apart from the forward line, to help the forward line. And Ox was that type of player. So hopefully we can see some form of Ox.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Ox, I thought he stepped in for Salah at AFCON pretty well.
Yeah,
I think he scored in every game.
I think as well, he's probably got to his mind. He's probably got in his mind as well. He's probably, if he's not going to get a new contract to Liverpool, he may want to try and stay in the Premier League as well. So there'll be clubs that will want to be after him. So he'll want to play well.
Yeah, look, there's a talent there. There's no doubt about it. It's just his injuries, and it's the same with Naby. Look, at the end of the day, if we get past this we get to the World Cup and we come back from the World Cup, and we got a fit squad. Fingers crossed, no one gets totally injured in the World Cup. And we got a fit squad of and everyone's back, and we got this midfield all of a sudden of Henderson, Thiago, Fabinho, Keita, Elliott, Ox, Milner. Klopp was going to look at that and think, right, they're all fit after the World Cup. We can, depending on how we finish now, mods, make sure you do your thing. If we can finish to the World Cup in a good position and not pick up most wins now, the Tottenham games are really hard this game in the Premier League. If we can draw that and win everything else, we will be around that 4th, 5th position. And Klopp will look at that and think, right, we're there now. Get all them back after the World Cup fresh. Hope Luis Diaz is meant to be back after the World Cup because his injury was only 6 weeks, wasn't it? So he should be back after the World Cup. And I think Klopp will look at it and think, you know what, if I can keep this team fit now, from now to the end of the season, we can have an actual proper go at it. I'm not saying win the league or anything, but we could get into a position where we can actually compete properly. Mm-hmm. And I think this next 6 weeks is really important to the football club, my man. I really do.
100%.
And now I know you've got to shoot. But thank you for coming on as always, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Love waking up early at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's always fantastic.
Oh, man, yeah, I've got to get up early to take the bloody kid to school.
It's not fair, mate.
No, it's not. It's not. Can't sleepwalk anymore. It's not allowed. But man, I don't sleep. I'm not one of these people. I can't finish something and go, I've got to get up at 6. Right, I'll go to bed now. I can't do it, man. It takes me hours.
I mean, me and Ricky were earlier. When me and Ricky earlier tonight, I was like, should we do it? No, we got to do it. We got to do a video tonight. We'll do a Nottingham Forest preview tomorrow. And it's just like, I mean, it's mad. Obviously, we just about get a couple of videos out a week. We'd love to get so much more out, but obviously, just so many other commitments and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult, man. It is difficult. But thank you for coming on. Do appreciate it. Your link is in the chat, guys. The link is in the chat, so please go and subscribe to Luke's channel. I would appreciate it. I think it's there. There we note that one there. There we go. Please go and subscribe to Luke's channel. I would love that. Thank you very much. Help him get to 700 subs. Thank you very much for coming on, Luke. I appreciate it. I
love it. Thanks, Jamie. And up the Reds. And we look forward to Saturday.
See you soon, man. See you soon.
See you later, mate.
Yeah, guys. So, look, this team is a good performance today, wasn't it? It was a good performance. We win 1-0. Darwin Nuñez, electric. Virgil looked decent. Alisson was excellent. Joe Gomez. We've got maybe an issue with Joe Gomez, guys. I don't know if Joe Gomez and Trent can play together as a right-sided centre back and the right back. I don't know if they look good together. I really don't. But that's one for Klopp to work out. And obviously, look, players coming back now. Curtis Jones is back. He came on tonight. Harvey, Elliot, Carvalho, Henderson's available. Fabinho, Thiago. Yox is back, as I said. Cater's not far away. Konate's meant to be training on the weekend, so he won't be far away now. I think Matip's only a couple of weeks away from coming back. So obviously, we just got to get to the World Cup. Let's get to the World Cup, do our best we can, and then after that, let's hope we've got a very fit squad going after that, where we can just push on and see where we come. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. It's my third video today, guys. You've had 3 videos off me today. I will be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. We are going to do the match ratings tomorrow night, guys. So I'm not doing match ratings tonight. I'm going to just do match ratings as its own video tomorrow night. And hopefully I'll have either Cav with me or Savage with me, someone like that, doing match ratings. And yeah, I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks for coming in today. Thanks for joining me all day. As I say, I've done 3 videos. Appreciate the love. Don't forget to hit the fun button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Match ratings. The Reds won 1-0. Big up the Reds. You never walk alone. Goodbye.